Hello again and welcome to part 2 of this video series on Mendeley. We've spoken about the plan or roadmap for these presentations. In this particular video, I'm focusing on setting up your Mendeley environment. In this video, we will look at creating a Mendeley account, installing the required software and plugins, creating your library, and ensuring that the settings for your application is correct. The first thing that we'll need to do now is to create an account by going to the Mendeley website. This will be important because it will allow us to log into the different versions of the software. It's completely free and it only takes a few seconds. So let's go to mendeley.com. When you get to the website, you'll see that there are a couple of ways for you to create an account. The information required from you will be your email address, your name, surname, and a password that is unique to you. On the next screen, you will also be asked to select a research focus area and to select your academic role. I already have an account, so I am just going to sign in here. What we've just logged into is the Mendeley web version. Remember I said there were 3 versions. There's the desktop version, the web version, and the mobile application version. So you'll see a number of options here on the top tab menu, and you also see that you should see your name, and that indicates that you've now created an account with Mendeley, and there is an opportunity for you to create your own profile. But I will explain the Mendeley web interface in the last video. Right now, what we want to do is to install the web importer. It will ask me to select the browser that I am using, and it is Chrome. And when I scroll down, I will click on this button that says Install Chrome Browser Extension, and then Add to Chrome. I'm expecting to see the extension in the top right-hand side corner of my browser. And essentially what this does is it allows us to save documents and references from the internet as we are reading. And it's quite quick. There we go. So I'm going to close off this and I will come back to explain the purpose and how we would use this add-on when we are actually importing documents into our library. For now, I want to go back to the feed over here, and what I want to do is to scroll right down to where it says downloads, and I'm going to click on Reference Manager because now I want to download the desktop version of Mendeley. Of course, there are applications, versions of Mendeley for the different operating systems. I'm going to choose this one because it's for Windows and I'm using Windows. And then you will see that it will ask you to save this application somewhere. Okay, I usually save it in my downloads folder, and once you've saved it, it will download. When it's completed with the download, you then need to go to that file and install it as well. The download is complete and I now need to install the application. And you basically just follow the prompts all the way through until it says finish. There we go. When you first open Mendeley Desktop, you'll need to log into the Mendeley software with your Mendeley account details that you created when you signed up. This ensures that any changes that you make in the desktop version will be carried across to other versions of the application that you log into on different devices. This is the synchronization effect that I explained in video 1. Recall that I said there were 3 things that we needed to install. The first one is the Mendeley desktop software, which we've done. The second was the web importer, which you can see is installed. And the last one is the citation plugin for MS Word, which is not yet installed. But with the click of this little button, it's instantly installed. So now we can close this. And we'll see that this is the desktop version interface, the interface for Mendeley for the desktop version. I will explain all of this in great detail in the next video, but right now what we want to do is to populate our library, because as you can see, it's empty. In Mendeley, there is a distinction between a document and a reference in your library. A document means an actual file, usually a PDF version of a research paper or an article, while a reference is simply the information needed to cite a document. Documents are added to your library by importing PDF files stored on your computer or downloading them from online catalogs such as Science Direct, Scopus, PubMed, or even Google Scholar. So there are 7 ways to add documents to our Mendeley library. I'm going to explain each of them. The first one is to just add a file or a folder by locating it in its drive on your computer. The next way is to indicate to Mendeley which folder it needs to watch. So you can create a watch folder by selecting a particular folder that holds all of your literature in it. And the moment you add a new document, Mendeley immediately picks up on that and it pulls that document automatically into your library. The third way is if you've used another reference manager before Mendeley, you can go to import and import your documents from the other reference manager. The fourth way is to add only references. So add a manual entry would mean to add a reference that I mentioned without a document. You can also just take a file and click and drag and drop it to your Mendeley library. Then we added the web importer. So the sixth way to add documents or even just references to your Mendeley library is to use this web importer that we installed. And essentially what that does is when you are browsing the internet and you're finding documents on Google Scholar or any one of the databases that I mentioned, you can use that web importer and it will pull those documents or citations directly into your library. The last way is to use Mendeley's literature search to search Mendeley's online catalog for documents and then insert that directly into your library. Or when Mendeley suggests articles that you may be interested in, you can seamlessly add those articles to your library as well. I'm now going to demonstrate how to create the watch folder and how to use the web importer. You'll notice that I created a watch folder over here with all of my literature in it. I can open up an article over here and just click and drag it to Mendeley. I can also go to add files or folders and just choose one. Or like I've said, I can go to the watch folder option. I can find that folder on my desktop, tick it, and everything in it will be ticked as well. And basically I'm telling Mendeley to always keep an eye on that particular folder. You can see that Mendeley is now starting to pull all of my literature into my library. Now let's have a look at Google Scholar. And you can search for anything that you are looking for. Basically, when you get your hits, you will see that some of them have PDF documents attached and some don't. So when you go to the Import to Mendeley add-on, you will notice that it picks up on the hits that you received and it will allow you to add the attachments. So everywhere where you see attached PDF, you can tick that and it will pull the whole document into your Mendeley library. Where you don't see the words attached PDF or the little icon for an attachment, that means it will only insert the reference into your library. So you can choose what you want to add to your library and you click on save and you'll see that it has added that reference and it's busy adding that file to my Mendeley library. And that is how we set up our Mendeley environment. I will see you in part 3 of this video series.